everybody, welcome once again to our Materia Medica Marathon. So I hope you all had a great weekend and it is going to be a wonderful weekend in coming days. Thank you all for joining. Come on, come fast. Today's marathon is little early than the previous marathons, and you will soon get to know why are we doing this early. Okay, so we have a very good fellow reader today. Her name is Dr. Sheetal Bidri. I am sure all of you know her. She's from Bangalore. She's a fitness enthusiast. She's a smiling face. She's a great person to know. And let us just request her to join us and Hello, Dr. Sheetal.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. Yeah. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
No. It's a pleasure doing. And thank you so much for accepting this invitation to do this. आलसी लोगों का मैराथन है ये, आपके जैसा नहीं है. आप तो genuinely आप fitness enthusiast हो. आप मैं देखता रहता हूँ. You keep running. You keep posting how much you run. I keep watching all that. But
I run, but never a marathon. Just 5Ks and 10Ks. Maximum half marathon. There is 21.1. 42.2 के लिए बहुत दिल्ली बहुत दूर है, तो देखेंगे.
हमारे लिए जो लोग 2 किलोमीटर क्या 2 किलोमीटर भी नहीं चलते हैं, हमारे लिए तो ये हाफ मैराथन भी मैराथन ही हो गया. तो we are very happy to have you here.
Yes, I'm very excited. ऐसे लग रहा कि मेरे को वाइवा का एग्जाम जैसा फीलिंग आ रहा था. I just messaged you sometime back. 30 रेमेडीज करना है मेरे को, अभी पता चला.
अरे 30 रेमेडीज इसीलिए तो आपको इनवाइट किया है, बिकॉज 30 रेमेडीज वाला जोश भी तो चाहिए ना.
If runners are there, no, runners का लॉन्ग रन रहता है हमेशा सैटरडे का, तो ये बहुत बड़ा लॉन्ग रन, मतलब 30 रेमेडीज का बहुत बड़ा लॉन्ग रन हो गया.
Yes. But let's start quickly because a lot of people have joined. We have already crossed 50. I'm so happy. थोड़ा जल्दी भी था before time, but people
ऑडियो
have
चेक
joined.
कर ले, वीडियो चेक कर ले.
It's all good.
सबको सुनाई दे रहा है, दिख रहे हैं हम लोग.
Yes, just put a thumbs up, guys, if everything is clear for you.
दिख रहा है, नहीं दिख रहा है,
सुनाई दे रहा है,
सुनाई दे रहा है, बताइए.
Okay. So I think we should start.
Yeah, let's start off.
Opening batsman has to be my guest, so please you start. Cionanthus.
Oh God. Okay. Cionanthus virginicus. It's amazing liver remedy. So headaches के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा यूज किया जाता है. तो abdominal cancers plus headaches is the keynote for the remedy. So headaches, periodical sick headaches. So like रंजन सर ने बताया था, तो सेड्रॉन जैसा, तो पीरियोडिक रहता है. सो पीरियोडिक सिक हेडेक्स. सो या ब्रायोनिया लाइक हेडेक्स रहता है. और क्या बोल रहा है, लाइक ब्रूस्ड सोरनेस जो है ब्रायोनिया लाइक सियोनांथिस में देखा जाता है. तो आई थिंक इंग्लिश इज ओके ना, हिंदी और इंग्लिश. आई डोंट नो व्हाई मैं हिंदी बाहर निकल के आ रहा, पता नहीं.
We don't have a target audience, so whatever language you are comfortable is fine.
Done. Cionanthus, what have you used? Gallstones बहुत important रहता है यहाँ पे. Gallstones and headache, very commonly used in mother tincture format. But I have used it in C potency 30 potency में use किया है. Headaches, periodical headaches के लिए use किया है. जहाँ पे liver pathology है, I have given in Cionanthus. Amazing works. Similar to Cedron, iris में भी होता है. Bilious, जो पित्ता बोलते हैं ना, पित्ता का headaches. वेरी कॉमनली आके बोलते हैं पेशेंट के, डॉक्टर पित्ता हो गया, उसके बाद हेडेक हो गया. तो आइरिस या फिर सियोनांथिस, डिपेंडिंग ऑन व्हाट सिम्टम्स इट इज देयर. ऑल्सो न्यूरैल्जिक थोड़ा रहना चाहिए, सो दैट इज ऑल्सो इम्पोर्टेंट.
So just I'll add to that something very similar to that gets it close to chelidonium is patient is better by lying on abdomen. That's the one thing that I've seen. So same. Like whatever you have said, even I've used one in a few of my cases of headache where there is periodical headaches.
And when you get,
Correct.
especially if you get fatty liver and all this pathologies, which is very common these days. So
फिजिकल आज तो बहुत है, बट सोरनेस रहना चाहिए.
yes, soreness.
पैल्पिटेशन में सोरनेस रहना चाहिए, तभी सियोनांथिस हेल्प होएगा.
तभी. Okay. So next is chloral hydrate. Actually, chloral hydrate, not much is written, not much is mentioned about chloral hydrate. But what on repetitive confirmations from few more authors, it's more, the symptoms are more common to that of chorea. It's more
yes,
it's often indicated
brain पे affect करता है, children में भी बहुत ज्यादा.
So it may be chorea, it may in differentials you may get essential tremors, and that's the gist of this remedy.
Done. But I'll tell you one thing interesting. Recently मेरे को just follow up आया था 2 दिन पहले ही. I wanted to write it on the story also कि मेरे को follow up आया था. I have used Chloralum for urticaria. So urticaria में recently I used it for she has chronic idiopathic urticaria, and उसका बहुत बुरा लगा मेरे को क्योंकि उसको चाय कॉफी पीने नहीं होता है. Hot beverages, doctor, whenever I have a hot beverage, urticaria. Hot beverage aggravation, Chloralum दिया जाता है. Recently, for all the listeners, something fun. If you have watched the new series Made in Heaven, वहाँ पे एक first episode में किसी को urticaria होता है after alcohol. So उसका causative factor कुछ और था because there was a reaction, but cause being alcohol causing urticaria. That you can give Chloralum. So also there are other remedies as well, but मैंने Natromure दिया, उसको help नहीं किया था, इसीलिए मैंने Chloralum try करके देखा because it was working on so many different planes. So recently follow up आया कि doctor, I'm not cooling my coffee down, cooling my tea down, I'm enjoying my hot beverages as is without having any urticaria. So chloral hydrate is my, like, it's a lovely remedy. I've used it in urticaria many times.
Yes. Also, it's compared very well to Asticus fluviatilis. And for urticaria, it's compared to Asticus fluviatilis.
Asticus, yeah.
Okay, so Chlorum, next is Chlorum.
Chlorum, respiratory के लिए, I imagine it as like chlorine अगर बाहर है तो how do you feel? Breathlessness होता है. यहाँ पे patient को exhale करने नहीं होता है. So there's a spasm of the glottis. So dyspnea when the exhalation is impaired, like Sambicus also. So like Sambicus wakes up and chokes in. So Sambicus का भी exhalation नहीं होता है. So like that Chlorum, that is chlorine basically. So I remember it as अगर chlorine fumes आ गया तो in lab what do you feel like doing? Dyspnea. So main thing is dyspnea cannot exhale, and क्या बोलते हैं, spasm in the glottis. That is very, very important in this.
So
then what else?
Just one thing I'll say, just a different perspective. Recently, like I got to know about this, that there's very famous doctor in Mumbai, is one of the pioneers of treating ADHDs and ASDs. So he has used a lot of ASD cases about Chlorum, and the very point why he was using was when he saw emaciation, which is the first word in Chlorum, that when
muscle prostration is the first word.
Yeah, so rapid emaciation. If you see, then you get a very good, and there onwards all the poisoning symptoms of Chlorum which develop, all this kind of psychological changes. So maybe depending on that he has used, and he's had a great success because of that.
Lovely. Prostration. This is first क्या बोलते हैं उसमें? First two words of Boger is so important. It gives you the whole picture of this thing.
And it totally changes your perspective, like how it is interpreted, in what all ways it can be interpreted. So just like the next remedy, I would say that Cicuta, when we go to Cicuta and when you catch the first word, so that's violent, convulsive, and phenomena. Phenomena is something which is, you don't understand where it comes from. It's a
पूरा scene बन जाता है. Phenomena मतलब बहुत सारा things हो रहा है, तो इधर-उधर सब जगह देखना पड़ता है. So violent.
Yeah, so it starts so violently. If you have a patient of convulsion where the convulsion starts from nowhere, like there is no aura, suddenly the child you'll start seeing child getting into convulsion. So in such cases, can you hear me? Somebody's writing, sir, your voice is low.
थोड़ा लो है आपका वॉइस. इवन आई एग्री टू दैट. थोड़ा लो है. मेरा हाई है पर ठीक है. I can hear you.
Okay, so that's what I was saying, that when the convulsions are so high, when they come immediately, so in that cases Cicuta is a very good remedy. But one thing which has to go with that convulsion is it should be accompanied by idiocy, and that when it comes in with idiocy, and this neuralgic pull is so high that even you'll get symptoms of diaphragm, where the diaphragm pull, you'll start getting hiccups. के लिए भी it's
loud hiccup बोला गया ना उसमें. Loud hiccup. हाँ.
Loud hiccup, and where you can compare it with Nicolamate and Cachuputtam. It's a very good role. And even if you read the Borica Cinnamonium ka last line, na, that it's Indian home remedy basically. Then put it on a cube of sugar and then take cinnamonium for hiccup. So this the whole the pull of neuralgic pull is so strong that it can even lead to hiccups. Diaphragm.
और ये ऊपर से नीचे होता है.
Yes. This is all.
जो भी phenomena है convulsive violence, ऊपर से नीचे होता है. क्यूप्रम का उल्टा होता है.
क्यूप्रम का उल्टा है, नीचे से ऊपर होता है. Totally agree. You have something to say on Cicuta?
Cicuta, skin complaints with history of skin eruptions जो suppressed होते हैं, उसके बाद convulsions आना या फिर brain का pathology आना, meningitis होना. Also eczema without itching, that is very common. Eczema जब ज़्यादा है और itching है, so that is Cicuta. And itching without eruptions is dolichos. I remember it like that. So eczema without itching, Cicuta, one of the very common remedy. Also history of जैसे कि हमारा zincum हो गया, Cuprum-ars हो, suppressed eruptions के बाद जो brain का pathology निकल के आता है, तो always can think of Cicuta. उनके ऊपर थोड़ा eczema रहता ही है. So उसके ऊपर if they are giving it to children, again ADHD children जिसको पढ़ना लिखना थोड़ा पीछे रहते हैं, बहुत जोर से चिल्लाते हैं, screaming, all those things, singing, dancing बहुत ज्यादा करते रहते हैं, और उसमें ही वायलेंस रहता है. उसमें उनका जो जनरल बर्ताव जो है वो भी वायलेंट ही रहता है. वो ऐसे शांत बच्चे ने सडनली उठ जाना, सडनली बेड के बाहर आ जाना, सडनली हंस देना, सडनली डांस कर लेना. सो दीज थिंग्स आर देयर इन वेरी कॉमनली इन ADHD children as well. So that is something I can add on to.
The next remedy
is Cimicifuga. Cimicifuga. Depressing irritant. First word of Boger is so good. Depressing irritant causing exhaustion and low spirits. So that black cloud is, everything is said in that first line only. Yeah. But similar to what you discussed in the previous live also, the rheumatic diathesis, जैसे कि हमारा colophyllum में है, तो यहाँ पे joints भी, I think you had already discussed that in your last live as well. So यहाँ पे joints also is affected here, where there is a uterine pathology also, joint pathology also. Cimicifuga can be really amazing to work with. This morning I had a patient. Let me remind you. So this morning I had a patient. She was so depressed. मतलब she was like, मेरे को कुछ करने का मन नहीं कर रहा है. I'm very like किसी से बात नहीं करना है, कुछ भी नहीं करना है, ऐसे पता नहीं मेरे को क्यों ऐसा हो रहा है. And she's completely lost hope. And then she said something so so nice that मेरे को ऐसा intermittent pain होता है, like कभी कभी इधर रहता है, कभी कभी ऐसा रहता है. So it is like the hip to hip, ovary to ovary, hip to hip जो pain आता है. Cimicifuga का clear cut picture आया और उसको मैंने Cimicifuga दिया. So let's see how it works out.
Yeah. So that's it. That typical ovary to ovary pain, the hip area pain, the muscles paining, neuralgic pains. That's all. I think what you have summed up is really well. There's nothing much. The remedy covers around this.
There's another patient I remember of. I mean, sorry if I'm telling too much, but there's there's a migraine patient who used to come, and she used to get like every other day migraine, and then I asked her, what is wrong with you, what happened, क्या हो रहा है, case taking ठीक से लिया थोड़ा, फिर बाद में she said the same occiput वाला headache which is shock like, and also the causative factor, पूरा history geography सुनने के बाद समझ में आया कि mental worry, because of mental worry, वो shooting pain is written in Boric I think somewhere, so I'm not so sure, but alternating है, and also very characteristically उनका menses जो था ना वैसा था, जैसे जब भी flow ज्यादा है तो दर्द ज्यादा रहता है. So more, I think Boger has written in synoptic, menses irregular time and amount, more the flow, more the pain. More the flow, more the pain, very characteristic. So occiput shock like pain, ailments from mental worry, and this menses ka situation like this. All in all, Cimicifuga, she's not got a migraine till now. Till now, I gave this like 2 years back. And now she gets her son, but she's not got a migraine.
Wonderful. So that was about Cimicifuga. Let's switch to Cina. Cina. Greater the emaciation, greater the hunger.
Greater the hunger.
So basically, again, even this this remedy has a lot of sore, lame, bruised feeling. That's why maybe there is aggravation when you pick up the child, they get irritated. Also, the remedy for worm infestation, where the patient has excessive desire for sweet, and you see poking of the nose, rubbing of the nose every time they just keep picking their nose very easily. Also, very sensitive to touch, sensitive to even when you look at them, the sensitivity is so high that when you look at that, a lot of times these symptoms are so well proved in this remedy that maybe you might get a patient of cough, or you might get a patient of diarrhea, or you might get a patient of fever. But if this sensitivity of this irritation and being touched and all that is aggravations, modalities match, I think you'll cover up all the pathology, not just worm infestations. Also, it's a wonderful remedy for worm infestations and everything. But
it will work.
Will everything. Again, a very good remedy for nocturnal enuresis. And also few authors have very repeatedly confirmed that it's a very good remedy for retinitis, amblyopia, and all those eye-related complaints. Although, like, I don't think I have never had a case where I've used this, but just to highlight so that whoever is listening,
eye pathology,
just some. So high degree of pathologies also it covers. So maybe not just limiting yourself to this kind of symptoms like what pediatric cases have, but maybe you can see things beyond that.
Correct. But acutes में भी बहुत it is very very useful, because पूरा का पूरा जो picture है सिना का वो समझ में आ जाता है acute में. Cross होगा, and Boger has written only one word in caps, touchy. Which is so nicely, क्योंकि पूरा कहीं पे भी touchy, eye touch, we know by the look of it, कुछ भी, और patient touch करने भी नहीं देगा patient अभी.
So that's a very
and also I've used it in like cough as well. Acute में again, acute में comes very close to chamomilla in the whole picture, but to differentiate it's very simple. अगर कैमोमिला का सिर पकड़ोगे तो गर्म रहता है, और सिना का नहीं रहता है. सिना का is not there. Cold sweat on forehead and nose is the presentation of Cina. Face cold रहता है और hands warm रहते हैं. So that is Cina. Face cold and hands warm. Clinically, girls you can say, and chamomilla का head warm रहता है. So that way you can rule out between.
Even there is a lot of
flushed feeling. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. So we can differentiate between chamomilla and Cina this way, and the very good remedy after Drosera also. So to give, if complete the action and the child is still little bit irritable, so you can give Cina and complete the action, and you can exit.
So next is Cinnabris.
Cinnabris, बताइए.
Your turn. Mine was Cina.
अच्छा ठीक है. I don't know होगा. मैं ऐसा रहता है.
You start, no, you start and then.
So I'm not supposed to tell you. ठीक है. मैं तो ऐसे ही verbal हो गया. ठीक है, कोई बात. So mercuric sulfide, Cinnabris. Recently I had a patient like just 2 days back where you know उसको यहाँ पे चश्मा जहाँ लगता है यहाँ पे पेन होता है और यहाँ से स्टार्ट होता है. शी इज टेलिंग पेशेंट यहाँ से पेन स्टार्ट हो रहा है, यहाँ पूरा निकल के आ जाता है एंड यहाँ से एंड इवन द प्रेशर ऑफ कुछ भी अराउंड द रूट ऑफ द नोज becomes very very difficult. उसको Cinnabris दिया गया because everything worked. The saddle of the nose is what he says. The saddle of the root of the nose is heavy लगता है और aggravation. अगर that patient was wearing glasses, she wouldn't have survived it because aggravation by this sitting of the glasses also. So Cinnabris very good remedy for nowadays where you're strained by screen and you get this typical encircling. अंदर से बाहर जो encircling रहता है तो Cinnabris helps in many cases where onosmodium is not giving me good results. I use Cinnabris and it is amazing.
Okay, that's great. What I like, I've genuinely used only for very specific kind of cases where there are ulcerations around the genitals of males.
Genitals.
So that's kind of like profuse ulcers which are very red and very sensitive to touch of even of the clothes. I think I've used it personally for that and I've had a very good success. So even that is quite highlighted in the book.
Nice.
The pain
nice. Yes.
Along the way. Okay.
Because correct.
About the next remedy, Cistus. I think whoever has seen the previous session should remember what Cistus is, where Cistus is to be allowed, because Ranjanda specifically said because center में pus रहेगा and sensitive to touch है तो Cistus है. Lekin that is print of tumor. What he was talking, he did mention Cistus. So anybody who has heard previous session should
go back to the previous session and watch.
And go see that sprint once again of Lepis alba.
अगर ट्यूमर के बारे में सिस्टस के बारे में सुनना है तो ब्रंजनदा के इसमें जाओ और वहां से सुनो.
So that's
but overall ballpark अगर सिस्टस बोलना है तो extremely sensitive लोग रहते हैं. like ठंडी I mean what हेपार जैसा रहता है चिली रेस सिस्टिस में भी extreme sensitivity. So even that pain जो रंजनदा ने बताया, so it works.
Yes. So that's basically all about this remedy. It's also a very good remedy for cough, but cough with glandular swellings and enlargement and of course sensitive cervical glands when you examine them, and you might see a lot of cracks around the lips. That's what is something which comes with a cough. Okay.
Correct.
So
क्रैक्स लिप्स पे रहेंगे, कॉर्नर में रहेंगे, टिप्स पे रहेंगे, सब जगह पे सब फटाफटा लगता है वो कोई पेशेंट फटाफटा. So very chilly remedy as well. So even the inhalation of cold air is not tolerable for that patient. So that Cistus works really well. Not just HEPA self. Think about Cistus when you find a very chilly patient.
True. Let's go to Clematis.
Clematis. Yes, Clematis. Clematis is my remedy. Yeah. I love this remedy because recently I helped a patient with who was having severe eczema all over the body. कुछ भी remedy help नहीं कर रहा था. I know I'm drifting away from what is the Boric. I'm sorry, Boger. But I'm just telling you a case where I helped a patient where similar kind of itching, burning था उनको भी, and typically उनका जो eczema था, it varies in full moon and new moon phases. So that is given. If I clearly remember why I picked up this particular symptom is because in Banja there is this presentation of Clematis where he says that, depends on the waning and waxing of the moon. And there's alternating state where during the no moon stage there is a complete dryness of the eczema, and then in the waning the other part, the no moon and full moon रहता है ना, तो उसपे there'd be extremely oozing discharges of the eczema like how we have our delta mirror. So उनके लिए that particular remedy helped, and I was goosebumps आ रहा है मेरे को recently. It's a friend of mine's this thing, which was क्योंकि उन्होंने बहुत सारा एलोपैथिक मेडिसिन ट्राई कर लिया, होम्योपैथी ट्राई कर लिया, होम्योपैथी के बाद वापस एलोपैथी गए, एंड देन with her constitution remedy बीच बीच में क्लेमेटिस इरेक्टा दिया गया था, and she did amazing. I mean, yeah.
Definitely,
So, yeah.
very wonderful case explanation. And what I have actually used it, which is very highlighted, is urethral strictures where there is painful micturition, where there is dribbling of urine. Patient constantly complains that he cannot complete his urination. He has this constant feeling of going to urine, pass urine and again. This leading to sleeplessness. Now there is all the remedies, a lot of remedies will give you sleeplessness, insomnia. So every time this is the match, it's like the match the following, like this is a match for excessive sleeplessness. Lot of times when there are cases of prostatitis and where you see bulky prostate in males, definitely you'll be helped with this remedy with whatever else you are treating. Simultaneously giving it for a shorter period of time will definitely help. Ranjanda, namaskar.
रंजनदा आ गए मेरे को बहुत पसंद.
जस्ट 2 मिनट पहले आपका नाम लिया था, वो सिस्टस आया तो आपके उसके बारे में बात किया था. Okay, so next, Coca.
I'm very nervous. Coca is my favorite remedy because it is the mountaineer's remedy, and I have used it in the treks, and I've seen my friends use it, and I'll first tell you what my experience is, then बाद में देखते हैं. So Coca I had used in a 10-day trek in the Uttarakhand foothills of Himalayas, and we did not have any AMS, that is altitude mountain sickness. वहाँ पे breathlessness होगा, you can't acclimatize to the high altitude, your respiration drops, your saturation drops. So I did not face anything. I think two of my friends and me took only Coca. One person took Coca and Diamox, and the remaining had taken Diamox. Everybody else was peeing everywhere they went, but we were all chill. We didn't have any side effect. We didn't get any AMS. So yes, it is the mountaineer's remedy, Coca. High altitude पे बहुत अच्छा use किया जाता है. Aggravation हो जाता है वहाँ पे. Dizziness रहता है, वही exhaustion feeling होता है. Then there is breathlessness हो जाता है. And there is mental prostration, so they will feel dull and sad, and वो लोग क्या बोलते हैं, वो थोड़ा अकेले लोग रहते हैं और sad type of लोग रहते हैं, and also they have a lot of need to do creative stuff as well, but that is the other part of it. But yeah, exhilaration.
Maybe the deoxygenation is bringing all the symptoms of solitude and depression.
Correct.
And that this vague crawling sensation here and there. Maybe this deoxygenation, maybe the later part, people must have observed that this is basically deoxygenation leading to all these symptoms. I think.
Correct. But वही ना want of breath बोलते, जब भी ऊपर जाता है, whenever climbing a hill, there's a want of breath, there's dyspnea, and उनका weak heart रहता है. So asthma, especially in older age group, where that also it helps. I think.
Somebody is asking, Diamox is allopathic medicine? Yes, Diamox is allopathic medicine.
Yes.
So that was about Coca. Cocculus Indicus is one of my favorite remedies. Used it so many times with amount of success that I've had. So basically, what really highlights me with this, especially in Boger's point of view, is he writes in the affected area, he writes one-sided. Now this one-sided also has so many meanings. One-sided could be one side of your body, one side of your emotion also. So one side of the emotion that really is like highlighted in the repertory is ailments from cares and worries. Now this ailments from cares and worries, person keeps suffering maybe you'll have a patient around the house. You have maybe you have a child who has an ADHD. You have a child who has an ASD. You have a child who is constantly sick. Maybe some geriatric age group people whom you are constantly caretaking, and suddenly when they die, when you have served for 10 years and they die, obviously then if the complaints have started, when you've served, when you've toiled for such a long period of time, and then the complaints are coming, I think Cocculus Indicus, again, this Cocculus Indicus will also have a lot of sleeplessness, but sleeplessness coming after a lot of cares and worries, and this emptiness inside them,
empty,
that is
hollow feeling.
hollow feeling. When the hollow feeling, according to me, what I'm saying is, when this person whom you have cared for this for such a long, for like 10 years, if maybe a court case is gone, maybe a divorce case is gone for 10 years, 7 years, and then when that thing is over, you feel that emptiness, you feel that hollowness. Oh, abhi nahi hai, abhi khatam. Oh my God, abhi kya karunga? Now they have nothing to do. So this is all about this remedy. Again, there are pain, there are symptoms of headache, there are symptoms of nausea, there are symptoms of you said abdominal complaints, where the patient has a lot of sickness, abdominal sickness, very similar to Colocynth also. But I think in a gist, if you have to explain, Cocculus would be a very big remedy to talk about. But in a small premise from cares and worries should give you a moral of the story.
Correct. Recently, I prescribed a Cocculus for 2 different cases. Cocculus in a cerebral palsy patient where, because of loss of sleep, usko seizures aane lage. And that I differentiate between Bufo and Cocculus आया था, and that उसको obviously CP के लिए weakness रहता ही है, spinal weakness रहता है, but this cause was so important, and I gave that. And the other different case was in menses, when there were clots, like crazy clots, and during menses बहुत ज़्यादा उसको vertigo भी हो रहा था, and weak and nervous during menses. So the clots got contained. ऐसा नहीं था कि there were like 4 pads, every 2 hourly, two pads every half an hourly. So the woman was so troubled by it. Cocculus 30 in repeated potency in water dose I gave, and that clot जो गिर रहे थे इतने ज़्यादा on the 4th day, 5th day भी, that immediately came under control, and her state of mind also improved. That sad, gloomy feeling that I'm sorry, कुछ call आ गया.
No, yeah. Happens.
Yeah, so that was profuse, dark, clotty menses, and with vertigo and headache during and weakness, Cocculus really helped. Obviously, vertigo or car sickness के लिए तो Cocculus is very important. Common. मैं तो नहीं जा सकती कहीं पे because I have traveling sickness. I need Cocculus with me.
So Cocculus is that. And then next remedy is Coccus cacti.
Coccus cacti. Coccus cacti cathar. Iska cathar on spasms are so amazing. I'm talking too much. ठीक है. So I will tell a case. Case of a woman came with cough, and cough completely ऐसा कर करके उसको थोड़ा cough निकल रहा था, and then she told that as soon as she wakes up in the morning she will पूरा का पूरा बाहर निकलता है वो. So she vomits cough इतना कर करके, especially when she is brushing her teeth, cough कर करके उसको बाहर निकल के आ जाता है. That is characteristic of Coccus cacti, and it is helped so many of my patients who have a lot of this thing. Very interesting part of Coccus cacti I learned from one of my friend was nephritic colic, जो bronchitis रहता है with lot of bronchitis with kidney pathology, especially in जिसको kidney pain भी हो रहा है, urea, there is a painful urination also, and there's respiratory illnesses. Altogether, you can think of Coccus cacti, where there is usually CKD patients, no? CKD patients जहाँ पे nephritic colic करके सिर्फ 2 ही word लिखा है कहीं तो, and then sticking along the urging to urinate and bloody sand-like deposits in the urine. So tabhi you can think of Coccus cacti, not just for normal cough, but also deeper pathologies like CKD, where there is a hematuria situation as well. So वहाँ पे भी बहुत कठार रहता है और painful, very painful.
Okay. I'll just add one thing, that it is ropey mucus. That's
yes.
one thing I think.
It's ropey mucus.
And cough ends in, somebody wrote that in the chat also, that cough ends in vomiting. I think I'll agree to, like everybody will agree to that. Cough ends in vomiting and ropey mucus. So that is about Coccus.
I hope everybody is with us and not getting.
No.
Oh.
No, there is no point in there. I think everybody, because what we are talking is quite relatable, like everybody must be seeing in their practice. And then it's Coffea.
Correct.
The Coffea, I think Coffea, excitable, overactive, oversensitive. I think all proving symptoms of coffee. And very, very similar, all the symptoms are very similar to Theridion. That's what.
Yeah.
Lithic diastasis, yes, Dada. Lithic diastasis, irritable, wakeful, all the extremes would go hand in hand. Irritable and wakefulness, and weeps. One end is weeping, then has tossing and turning about the bed, and acute hearing. Lot of sounds.
Theridion का spine को जाता है ना तो ऐसा.
So here, and also a very good remedy for toothache. That's actually all that I would think about Coffea.
Yeah. वो भी जब amelioration by cold water, जब cold water गर्म हो जाता है तो उसको it doesn't help. So toothache helping with cold water, जब अंदर ice water रखने के बाद that will help. So that is Coffea toothache. But yeah, I think that's about it in Coffea. But also they are very sleeplessness के लिए भी use किया जाता है. Nervous sleeplessness where there are lot of thoughts, lot of ideas. I had a very, a patient who couldn't sleep at night because he has to generate ideas for his company. He had a huge, very renowned chair company in Bangalore. So, usko naye ideas वगैरह सिर्फ नींद में आते थे. So, he has to get up and then write it or send his marketing team and then write that. So, इतना ज़्यादा ideas. मतलब he can get ideas only during sleep. So, then Coffea really helped him.
Okay.
And generally Coffea people are very scenty log. So ailments from pleasant surprises, joys and things like that. थोड़ा coffee पीने वाले लोग जैसा scenty रहते हैं.
Okay, the next is Colchicum.
Colchicum, बताइए. Colchicum again rheumatic है, so digestive tract पे भी है, heart पे भी है. Weakness, cold, sensitive, weakness, और इनका भी sensitivity towards acute बहुत रहता है. So तो odors हो या फिर external appearance. Odors तो हमको पता ही है कि food का जो odor है उनको नहीं भाता है. So that is very correct. उनको nausea आ जाएगा और बहुत sensitive रहते हैं. और also on the other side rheumatic symptoms. It's very good remedy for rheumatic arthritis also. Similar to bryonia, when bryonia is not helping, Colchicum sometimes helps out. And वहाँ पे shifting pains रहेंगे, यहाँ वहाँ इधर उधर जाएंगे. It's going to be small shifting and थोड़ा swelling भी रहेगा. Similar again, heart पे जो रहेगा और joints पे जो रहेगा, like how a rheumatic heart disease का pathology रहता है. So cardio arthritic affections is what he writes in Synoptic Key. So that is there. And उनको बहुत ज़्यादा प्यास भी है, पर उनको it's not they cannot eat anything, they cannot smell anything. उनको कुछ सूंघने भी पसंद नहीं, खाने को पसंद नहीं. उनको just चुप बैठने का पसंद रहता है. So just sit quietly. Amelioration by lying quietly. That is Colchicum.
And I think, in just one thing I'll add it in your whatever you said is that the arthritic swellings, what are they're quite dropsical. Swellings are quite dropsical, and there is a bit of a shine on the swelling. So that's what Colchicum, and obviously when this is when this gets clubbed with your nausea, vomiting, and what it's like shunt, the pain is so tiring that they better keep it to themselves. So
correct.
That was about
Boger ने लिखा है कि moist collapse, जो आपने बोला ना moist collapse. So that shine, वो जो the liquid getting accumulated in different parts of the body. That leading to collapse can also be one of the leading remedies in for colchicum. I mean, leading possibilities to use colchicum. Yeah. So that's colchicum.
Collinsonia. Collinsonia, we know that it's a very specified the area of action would be very specific. Like in Boger, it is mentioned in the rectum and anus, in the pelvic region.
Yes.
Maybe rectum.
The pelvic region is
so pelvic region is completely covered, and what the word mentioned first is congestion. Now, when you add congestion to it, then you will get piles, then you will get hemorrhoids, then you will get uterine menorrhagia. You'll get all kinds of symptoms, and up to the extent that this congestion and extreme heaviness may lead to prolapse. Now, prolapse of uterine. Now you have uterine prolapse also, and now you have rectal prolapse also. Both kind of remedies, like it's a wonderful remedy for piles, and it's a wonderful remedy for uterine prolapse. So when all these remedies are clubbed, there's also a lot of itching associated with it.
Correct.
And that is, I guess, all that I could understand about this remedy.
Pretty much it. उतना ही है. And जहाँ पे venous engorgement, like congestion, even in males, varicocele, and in females especially, very good remedy during pregnancy. During pregnancy जो piles निकल के आते हैं, hemorrhoids निकल के आते हैं, very और rectum के अंदर जैसे as if stick and sands are there, उनको ऐसा feeling रहेगा. So that time you can think of Collinsonia. Where there is bleeding रहेगा, then you can give Collinsonia.
Okay. Next is Colocynth.
Colocynth is सबका favorite colic remedy, digestive tract thing, antispasmodic. कुछ नहीं समझ में आया तो Colocynth.
Colocynth तो दे दो पहले.
Yeah. So ये भी थोड़ा सडन से आता है. तो atrocious cramping जो बोलते हैं by Boger, atrocious cramping मतलब इतना पकड़ के रहता है कि as if stones are rubbing beside each other, and clamping, cutting, जो भी बोलना है पूरा का पूरा as if it is taken from पूरा intestines पकड़ लिया सबने, and it's giving rubbed between stones. And imagine what can happen during that time. Pains can be very lightning like pains, and उनको क्या पसंद है? उनको पसंद है pressure, उनको पसंद है doubling up, जहाँ पे बहुत सारा प्रेशर पड़ता है उनके एब्डोमेन पे, और दे विल गो अंडर नियर द हार्ड प्रेशर, जहाँ टेबल के पीछे जाएंगे और उसको वहां पे रिलीफ मिलेगा. सो एज इफ रब्ड बाय स्टोन्स, थोड़ा सा खाना खाएंगे उनको पूरा प्रॉब्लम आ जाएगा. गैस कोलिक बोगा से गैस कोलिक, हाँ, गैस फ्लैचुलेंट कोलिक, फ्लैचुलेंट कोलिक. सो एमनरेशन बाय हार्ट प्रेशर, aggravation by least amount of food. It helps even in dysmenorrhea. It is really like if that cramping is correct, they cry out in pain so badly. So when sometimes even Macphos will not help, or Sabina, things like dysmenorrhea के जो remedies है वो काम नहीं करते, तो think of colic, because उतना जो cramping जो women go through, Colocynth can actually reduce that. And obviously in children it's very, very important.
Yes. So all this, like just when you said that heart pressure ameliorate, I think Stannum Met also has this. The Stannum Met has a habit of actually piercing things.
Pressing.
Maybe you're holding it against the table, or holding it against some hard thing, whichever.
Even Plumbum Met, na?
Plumbum Met. Like
Plumbum Met bhi hai.
Yeah, Plumbum Met.
Not Plumbum. Plumbum Met bhi hai.
Like what I'm very sure about is Stannum. I remember Stannum में है, and ये I guess हम लोग को एक बार सरकार सर ने भी बोला था. So Stannum one thing is very sure. So that is all about. And left-sided sciatica, very popular remedy for left-sided sciatica also. So wherever there is neuromuscular involvement and whatever you said, spasms, I think that you have summarized it quite well. Next is Comocladia.
Comocladia. Yes. It's similar to
So this remedy is basically, there is a lot of edema maybe around the eyes, edema maybe around the, what you can say, the joints, fingers, and what pain is under the left breast through the scapula.
I'm not used it in such things, but yeah.
Yes. So basically, what I think what it means here is wandering rheumatic pains, like what we have it in pulsatilla and Berberis vulgaris. So the pain shifts from one organ to another. But here it's more confined to more of edema. Edema is basically highlighted in this. So this is what it means. Next is Conium.
Yeah. Also in Comocladia, I've used in again skin complaints because it's very similar to rustox, जहाँ पे itching रहेगा और swelling बहुत रहेगा, edema of the feet जहाँ पे रहते हैं, similar to poisoning, irritant poisoning like rustox. So you can think of Comocladia as well. So next is Conium. Conium again.
Yes, please start.
Your
turn.
My turn है क्या? You're keeping track. मैं तो सब में बात कर रही हूँ. I feel I have. I told you before the session also I have verbal diarrhea. Please control me.
It's okay. Let's start with Conium.
Early senility, जो जल्दी बूढ़े हो जाते हैं, and क्या बोलते हैं उसको, irregular action ending in progressive debility as in old age is what Boger says. So इतना progressively they get उनका जो energy levels है, उनका जो pathology is it comes down as if they are reaching their old age is what he says, and इतना prostration रहेगा कि they will faint even when they are going to stool, and उनको बात करने भी थोड़ा difficulty रहेगा, unsteady gait रहेगा. So that towards the how you would think about an old person, trembling gait, trembling when he walks, trembling when he's talking. So early debility, early senility, that is this thing Conium, where again very good remedy for paralysis also, जहाँ पे cachexia हो जाता है ना, when there is lot of paralysis in the nerves and the action on nerves and muscles है, तो फिर paralysis is one of the main remedies here. Ascending paralysis, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
And stony hardness of the tumors. Very good remedy in cancers where there is very stony hardness of the tumor, be it in the breast or any glandular affection, because as a marked action on glands, so breast or ovaries, जहाँ पे stony hardness है, and it is history of injury can be one of the ailments fund where you can think of, and that becomes a prescribing point. Also, I'll tell you one case under Sarkar sir, I suddenly remembered, sorry. I don't know what was the thing, but you can correct me if I was wrong. So, इतना बड़ा parotid का जो swelling, cancer of parotid gland था, and the patient is like sitting like this, like I said. Sarkar sir just prescribes Conium, that's all.
Yes, because holding.
Why? No, यहाँ पे था, यहाँ पे hold. Why? Because hanging down amelioration.
Oh. Sarkar sir.
Sarkar sir तो Sarkar sir ही है. So hanging down, even in the varicosity, अगर जो भी same thing आएगा तो you can think of that. Then yeah, your mind is becoming numb, I think so.
Conium, I just like to add one thing in Conium. Conium has lot of, I'll tell you, there's a lot of creating this constriction throughout.
Yeah.
So very strangely, now you talked about Sarkar sir, I talked about Master sir. So recently, one of the cases of acidity, chronic acid peptic disease, we've used so many remedies, this, that, then he said, hota kya hai, bolo. Either he points out that the epigastrium, and he said, either kuch pakad liya aisa lagta, either kuch pakad liya aisa lagta. He went through the records and highlighted it. So he said, Kent mein it's a single remedy, lubricate Conium. The constriction
Lovely.
constriction in the epigastria. So he said,
Yeah.
"Dekha, socha tha kabhi, socha tha?" I was like, "Nahi, socha tha nahi tha." This is I've highlighted that this constriction is so well marked that it might be at the level of any tubular structures, or maybe you get the glandular structures. So everywhere you'll get this heaviness leading to constriction. So it's a very good remedy. Recently also I had given in cancer cases where in first month itself the tumor came to the half of its size. So when the indications, like all the great authors have written it, when it is rightly indicated, it will definitely work.
It will definitely work. Any homeopathic remedy, for the matter of fact.
Yes. So also
match करना ही सबसे बड़ी मेन टास्क इज टू मैच इट, दैट्स ऑल. आपका केस टेकिंग ठीक हो जाए तो फिर मैच कर सकते हैं, एंड यू नो वेयर टू लुक, व्हाट टू लुक इन द मटेरियल मेडिका रेपोर्टरी, देन इट विल आराम से आपका जो पेशेंट को भी आराम हो जाएगा, आपका रेमेडी भी ठीक हो जाएगा. Yeah. So
also it was a poison given to Socrates, just to highlight.
Yes.
That's it. Okay, and next is Copaiva.
What pronoun? Yes. But we also tell कि vertigo भी है, Conium में vertigo भी है. Not forgetting that.
Yes, vertigo.
Very specific for vertigo.
Almost specific for vertigo. कुछ नहीं, जैसे Colocynth का था ना, almost specific antispasmodic, almost specific vertin जैसा वो allopathic doctor
वर्टिंग की जैसा Conium
लेके दे दो तुम लोग, at least you'll get some time, you'll get some buffer time to then study the case.
Correct.
Next is Copaiva.
Copaiva.
Yes, Copaiva. It's a very good remedy when you have not just foul but a very thick white discharge coming out from the patient. Now, also if it is stopped by when you say the past illnesses of syphilitic origin, if you get a family history, they were saying any STDs in the family, obviously people may not be aware or may not be able to reveal it, but the foulness and the word blenoria here means thick mucus discharge from vagina. So blenoria, it is what here it's mentioned is both the ends. One is blenoria, one is bronchoria. So if you have a thick mucus discharge from the throat also, Copaiva is a very wonderful remedy. And I think in the males also.
Correct.
Males also.
I was just going to say that actually.
Yes,
yeah.
I think females, but the males also, Shivam learned from Master Sir Insta video urticaria with constipation. Yes, Shivam.
Yes.
You're right.
I learned from Dr. Sarkar. एक Down syndrome का patient आया था, and there was urticaria, severe urticaria in boric children, chronic urticaria in children. But also when urticaria is coming with fever and constipation, then Copaiva works wonderfully. I've used it twice or thrice now. I learned that from Sarkar sir. But yeah, that it definitely helps. Yeah. But yeah, overall genitourinary tract के ऊपर जो suppuration रहता है, I think we can definitely go for Copaiva.
So next is
It's very useful in the current STI situation. वहाँ पे बहुत सारा pustula रहता है. I mean, pus-filled discharge रहता है. उस time पे it really helps.
Okay. Corallium Rubrum.
And next, Corallium बताइए.
Corallium Rubrum, obviously, the paroxysmal cough is quite famous with Corallium spasmodic cough. Almost gasping for breath is what is mentioned. Very sensitive to cold. Very sensitive to cold. Even the draft of air will trigger the cough. Will bring up the cough.
Even if he eats, triggers the cough.
And a very good remedy for whooping cough. When you have a cough which is not solved, for almost like pertussin, where the pertussin, where you know that you'll use, but I think pertussin you'll not be able to use it for too long. But I think Corallium Rubrum for a longer period of time will get a definitely good relief.
Dr. Vansh's plantar psoriasis. Corallium Rubrum. Yeah. जहाँ पे red. I think there was this one some dream था उसमें ना जो red something dream था, I forgot, some dream of Corallium. Okay, never mind, I'll tell it.
Yes, one. But what I remember here when Vansh wrote about plantar psoriasis, no, I think Sarkar sir had showed it about this remedy only It's the doctrine of signature which gets it close to plantar psoriasis. He had showed that he said open the image,
way it looks,
and
the coral, how it looks,
how the coral looks, it looks like a psoriatic patch. So that's why it is also a very good remedy, and the understanding here is from the doctrine of signature.
Correct.
Cornus. Next is Cornus.
Cornus cicinata. It's a very good liver remedy. जहाँ पे blood, liver, spleen is affected, and वहाँ पे aching eyeballs. I mean, when I'm feeling aching, so aching eyeballs. Well, it's so past my bedtime. That's what I'm thinking. How am I still having? So liver symptoms जहाँ पे aching of eyeballs रहते हैं, and stools are very dark and foul. जहाँ पे burning and anus रहता है, और sometimes associated with diarrhea also. So offensive stools, dark stools, bilious stools, liver pathology है, especially in cirrhosis of liver. जब very common in India is in children is cirrhosis of liver. वहाँ पे आप Cornus दे सकते हो. Very interestingly, I prescribed 2 years back to one child where it was very surprising for me that I gave this remedy because nothing was working. Unka jo constitutional diya, I worked out what it is, but I saw that the eczema was on the face only, and it was in a very it was a pura eruptions the face pe, like this atopic dermatitis jo rehta hai, where there is lot of eczema. And it was on a child. I think she was back then she was a few months old, 4 to 5 months old, and she was breastfeeding. वहाँ पे I gave Cornus, just single dose, 40 size globule का सिर्फ एक ही globule, and her eczema just vanished, and it was so beautiful. And I shared that remedy with a lot of people to कि बोरिक में लिखा है कि vesicular eczema on the face of infants who are nursing and who can also have a sore mouth. So I gave Cornus circinata, and it really helped the child, and I learned a remedy by prescribing that remedy, and and now I'm able to share with everybody, so the circle is complete. Yes.
Wonderful. So circle se yaad aaya, it's also one of the references where the eruptions are circular.
Circinata.
Yeah. That's what remind me with circle. Yeah. So because it's circinata, the eruptions are circular. Okay. Just to way to remember. Next is Crataegus. Crataegus, everybody knows Crataegus is
the infamous heart tonic.
Yeah. So, but just like in Clematis, we said the urinary symptoms will not let you sleep. Here, the heart symptoms will not let you.
Heart symptoms.
So, heart symptoms with insomnia. Remember, almost all pathologies. Crataegus covers almost all pathologies. But obviously, the pathology should match with lot of sensitivity of oppression in the chest. That's what is given. That the oppression should match and should keep. And when the patient keeps having the heart beating, and this anxiety leads to a lot of sweating, that's what is mentioned. And I guess we have all used this with a lot of success in cardiac dyspneas also.
Yes, definitely.
Next is Crocus.
Crocus sativa, the grotesque person. Yeah. अच्छा, so rapidly changing, alternating symptoms जो आते हैं, opposite mood हो, symptoms इधर उधर हो, या फिर कभी खुशी कभी गम, mind में हो या body में है, कुछ भी alternating situation, it is good. Twitching of single muscles is very important here, where there can be chorea also. A patient can be having a lot of movement, involuntary movement. And to be, एक जो thing to remember is the hemorrhages, which is dark, stringy. And very tough. Yeah. So that is very good, especially in women who have extremely thick, dark menstrual discharge, which is very tough to even to get it out. Also, ropey, stringy menses, yes, that's very important. And also, यहाँ पे one remedy, one indication indication I can remember is during menopause जो migraines आते हैं. So during my climatic period का जो भी migraines आते हैं, that one similar to sanguinaria where they उनको pressure से ameliorating हो सकता है. So similar to sanguinaria, migraine, but in climatic period. That really helps well, and apart from that, I think the singing during sleep, the kind of behavior of Crocus is completely different. Or क्या है?
I guess singing would go into the category of hysteria.
Yeah, hysteria जो भी है, there is a lot of very. I had made a reel on this one symptom of Crataegus also. एक जो धुन सुन लेते हैं, वही धुन पूरा दिन वो गाते रहते हैं. So उनको Crocus Cataeva you can think of.
So I guess that's quite good about Crocus Cataeva. Next remedy is Crotalus Horridus.
Crotalus Horridus.
Crotalus Horridus also. When you speak of snakes, I think you can speak quite a lot in detail, but all the snakes will have the affinity over blood, cerebrospinal nerves, and this Crotalus Horridus is basically right-sided, and the right-sided remedy, deathly sick, tremulous, and weak. That's what is written in the first line. So deathly sick, again, right. Deeper pathologies is deathly sick. Tremulous means these cerebrospinal nerves, when you see tottering gait, when you see Parkinson's disease, when you see amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, when you see all these deeper pathologies, and which is clubbed with a lot of weakness. So you should remember, maybe it's very easy to remember it this way, where it's also, also in Boger is written malignancy. Now there is malignancy.
In capitals is written malignancy.
So in capitals when he writes malignancy, it's not just cancer, but all the advanced pathologies gets covered in malignancy. And you would also always see this when it mentions blood means a lot of deeper blood pathologies. Like once is mentioning ITP, very good. Like in sepsis, when the patient is landing into multi-organ failure, I think very good remedy for such kind of cases. Very good remedy for one. We had one case of ITP which was doing wonderfully with Crotalus Horridus and Hirudo, and a lot of cases I've seen with Dr. Master where there is, it's like patients are into very bad state. ICU patients we have seen with Crotalus Horridus. He uses a lot of snake remedies for basically
ICU. You will see them that in when they are in ICU, their eyes and mouth are open and tongue is paralyzed. So that is the observation.
Observation. Yes. So that is about Crotalus Horridus. Also, you should not forget that the all the discharges are quite dark towards bluish black. Again, a syphilitic remedy. So bluish black discharges, maybe from the rectum or from the vagina, but or from the lungs. Whatever discharges you are getting. Even sometimes when you see in like one of the ICU observations which you said, even when they take blood for examination for laboratory, you'll see that if the patient, if they're nursing, so you'll see the vials are black in color.
Correct.
So that darkness, that kind of darkness, I guess Crotalus Horridus is a very good remedy for that.
Lovely.
That is all.
Lovely.
Next is Croton Tig.
Croton Tig. सुन के मेरे को एक केस याद आता है. I will tell in case format since it is my turn, I think so. I don't know. I lost track. So Croton Tig क्या हुआ? Recently there was a patient who had severe diarrhea and severe pain in the abdomen. बहुत ज़्यादा pain होके उसको immediately she has to go to the washroom. कुछ खाए तो भी she is going to washroom. A previous homeopath locally she had taken, they gave arsenic album, then there was no relief, and then I started, of course, case taking becomes so important in every case. So I asked, tell me about the diarrhea, tell me how it feels after the motion is passed, does your navel start feeling better, क्यों आपका navel pain हो रहा है. So पूरा case taking ठीक से लेने के बाद I realized actually Arsab Croton Tig will help her because her motion used to come out, splutter out immediately like a gushing sort of a motion. So gurgling, splashing as of water in bottles. So that is the way it will be presented. Within 6 doses in water dose, Croton Tig, her diarrhea just stopped. And then one of the reasons to prescribe Croton Tig was, I had told her not to drink milk in her chronic case taking. So when acute May, she requested me, doctor, can I please have milk, because that is the only thing is giving me relief. So please, doctor, can you let me have milk? I'm like, it's okay, you confirm my remedy, so you go have milk and you take Croton Tig, and uske baad usko theek ho gaya.
Okay, great. I think we all have used some or the other time during the diarrhea.
Yeah.
So Croton Tig. Next is Cubeba. Cubeba is just very similar to Copaiva.
Correct.
Cubeba and Copaiva just go hand in hand, but in Cubeba there is marked burning, which was absent in Copaiva. So that is just about Cubeba. Next is Culex.
Burning discharges, offensive discharge, same like Cubeba. Culex, I have never used it, but edema and vertigo on blowing nose is the indication here. Menses stain inedibly. Matlab zyada, you cannot wash it off, that is important. And gripping down over hips, then into womb, as of cold air blowing through the whole of the clothes and chest or back. So I have not used Culex in my practice. So if you have any, please share the experience.
Even if anybody has used it in the chat box, people can please write. We'll all get to know if somebody has used Culex in their practice. Please.
Sharing is caring.
Next is Cuprum. Sharing is caring, definitely. Tonight, Dr. Sheetal Bidri is awake ball because of us, because she wants to share.
I can't believe it, Mara. Energy.
She's sipping. I think you're sipping coffee or sipping water. You're sipping coffee or sipping water to keep yourself awake?
Water. I'm dehydrated. Coffee अभी सोऊंगी तो मैं कल सुबह तक नहीं सो सकती.
Okay, now we have just, I guess, 2 or 3 remedies left. Next is Cuprum metallicum.
3 remedies and then we'll go for GG time. Yes.
So Cuprum metallicum, lot of levels it will cover up. Obviously, a very big polycrest remedy. From head to toe, from brain to spinal nerves. Everything covered up. Obviously, just now we mentioned.
In Cicuta.
Cicuta?
Yeah.
He mentioned
Cicuta. क्योंकि ऊपर से नीचे Cicuta है वो जो convergence निकलते हैं तो नीचे से ऊपर रहेगा Cuprum.
So you see all the brain areas affected, all the remedies, but what is most important is cramps and spasms, with also very wonderful remedy, I think, for laryngospasm. I think when you see in a lot of cases, when the patient lies down, the trachea starts making this sound, the laryngostrismus, what we call it in the old language, it is trismus, and it's a very good remedy in chronic coughs when you're using it. Otherwise, it's a very big polycrest remedy. I think we have all had its time. And almost in all end stage diseases like collapse, the last word what in Boger mentions is collapse. So even in that time, when you see twitching and twitching of muscles coming up, or involuntary movements of hands and legs or of the neck, I think Cuprum metallicum would be a very good remedy. And that is why I think it is very wisely mentioned that it is related to Veratrum album.
Veratrum album, true. And the collapse also, the slow pulse, the icy coldness, the chilly cold, clammy sweat, similar to Veratrum album.
So you read
overall even the...
You read the last line of collapse and you read the first line, that is sub-oxidation. Now sub-oxidation, sub-oxidation would definitely explain you everything about collapse. Whether it's
Dr. Vansh adds Cuprum is of obstinate OCD cases when everything else failed.
Wow, thanks Vansh. And
thank you, Vansh.
Arsenicosum. Dr. Vansh. The Cuprum arsenicosum, if anybody wants to just go back to on YouTube, everybody has seen, I think, Dr. Saptareshi Banerjee's cough wala remedy. He's mentioned about Cuprum arsenicosum there. It's a very good remedy where there's violent coughs with colics. Violent coughs and
Correct.
colics.
Correct. और hiccup भी रहते हैं और cold body as well.
Yes, cold body. So
Recent cough तो हमको पता है, digestive tract पता है, and even that worse, in the damp weather, that is again very important here. Recently, I happened to prescribe this to one of my CP patients, cerebral palsy patient, where there is convulsions. There is a similar convulsions like Cuprum, and violent से ही आते हैं, and convulsions was only better by bathing. Washing amelioration tha, and main remedy is actually Bufo in that particular symptom, but I gave Cuprum-ars because the symptoms were like Cuprum, and it is matching up the whole restlessness of ars, plus this rubric covered it saying that convergence amelioration by washing or bathing.
Yes.
It helped the child immediately actually. So Cuprum-ars I gave.
Yes. Selma.
Last remedy.
Merhaba. Last remedy, merhaba. Cyclamen. Cyclamen. Okay, you start.
Use that as your.
No, not my
So
turn.
cyclamen, not my turn. Okay. So again, similar cerebrospinal axis पे work करता है, and it's similar to pulsatilla. Very good remedy for female complaints, especially in case of migraine. I learned this symptom from Dr. Dole from Pune, where there's migraine and itching of ears. Yeah, so cyclamen is very good. Apart from that, similar to a lot of things similar to Amara pulsatilla, where there is a menstrual or gastric disturbances, and the only difference is, like the major difference is, cyclamen dreads open air and pulsatilla loves open air.
Yeah. So just adding to this cerebrospinal involvement
Axis,
could help convergence strabismus or nystagmus, what we call as nystagmus. A wonderful remedy for nystagmus. Another very good remedy for nystagmus is benzene dinitrate, which is also, I think Lode sir had taught me when you recalled him. I'll just highlight what remedy he had taught me, and I think that is all about cyclamen. That it is a very good close remedy of pulsatilla. It's a friend of pulsatilla.
Yes,
many
very
a times,
similar to
if
that.
there is cerebrospinal, if you don't have this if you don't have cerebrospinal involvement, I think you will get confused with pulsatilla.
Correct. Pulsatilla.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. It is really pleasure. We did this 30 remedy ka marathon. Thank you so much, Dr. Shiv.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and it was so much fun. If only I was not this particular time of the day, but I still somehow survived through it. Thank you so much. This long run is very close to my heart, so thank you. Thank you
all for joining. We'll see you next Saturday again. I hope if the next Saturday here all goes well, that we'll start at 10. Okay.
Done.
Bye,
All right.
bye. Take care. Good night. Thank you so much for joining.
Good night.